Welcome again to Interpreting Asia, Interpreting Europe. This programme looks at coping tactics. But what does that mean exactly? In English, people normally cope with problems. Lack of money, a sudden death or illness, or problems at work. How are you coping? Or, do you think he can cope? Are typical sentences. In interpreting, the word coping is used when there are difficulties which an interpreter faces. It doesn't matter how good your memory is, how good your notes can be, or even how well you have prepared. There will always be unpredictable moments where the interpreter has to cope with a difficulty.
Coping tactics are crucial for every interpreter working out in the field.
Coping tactics can minimize the negative impact of the difficulties faced by the interpreter.
In the drama, we are going to see a European visitor who poses a particular problem for the interpreter after negotiations which seem to have gone well.
Thank you very much for showing us around your site. It was very interesting.
Xin cảm ơn ngài đã dành thời gian dẫn chúng tôi đi tham quan.
Hy vọng chúng tôi có thể làm ăn được với quý bà.
I hope we will be able to do some business with you.
I'm sure we will, no problem.
Tôi tin là như vậy.
Vậy tốt quá.
Excellent.
But we do need to consider the environmental issues.
Nhưng chúng ta cần bàn tính lại các vấn đề liên quan đến môi trường.
Xin lỗi.
Sorry.
I was wondering about the waste water flowing back into the river.
Tôi đang phân vân về việc thải nước ra sông.
Chúng tôi đã có sẵn hệ thống xử lý rất tốt theo tiêu chuẩn khu vực.
We have a very good system in place which conforms to regional standards.
Yes, but if you increase production to cope with extra demand, you might need to consider an upgrade in the water filter system.
Nhưng nếu để tăng sản lượng, để đáp ứng với nhu cầu gia tăng, các ông phải tăng cấp hệ thống lọc.
I have a friend who makes and installs water filter systems.
Bà ấy nói,
As far as water filtering goes, they're probably one of the best companies in the world. It's all state-of-the-art stuff. They do a lot of work in Scandinavia, where they have some pretty tough regulations on environmental issues. They also do a lot of work in Eastern Europe, where there are some very big environmental problems.
bà ấy nói bà ấy có bạn.
Just let me finish. I'm not saying you have a problem at the moment, but if you do increase production, one thing you need to know about Mike is he always finishes on time and he always sticks to the original price, so you wouldn't have to worry about that at all.
Bạn.
Why don't I get Mike Timberlake to give you a call? He's a great guy. He's a wonderful guy. He's the MD. In fact, I think he might be in Asia next week. I'll ask him.
Xin cảm ơn bà, hy vọng sớm gặp lại.
The interpreter certainly had a problem with that businesswoman. She was unstoppable. Perhaps we cannot criticise the interpreter too much for not controlling the situation. What tactics could you employ? How would you cope? And can you learn to cope? Let's look at where it begins to go wrong.
I hope we will be able to do some business with you.
I'm sure we will. No problem.
Everything is going well so far.
But we do need to consider the environmental issues.
Nhưng chúng ta cần bàn tính lại các vấn đề liên quan đến môi trường.
Xin lỗi.
Sorry.
I was wondering about the waste water flowing back into the river.
The visitor seems to be confusing the host. This is a new topic, yet the host thinks that the meeting is over. But the visitor carries on.
I have a friend who makes and installs water filter systems.
Bà ấy nói,
As far as water filtering goes, they're probably one of the best companies in the world. It's all state-of-the-art stuff. They do a lot of work in Scandinavia, where they have some pretty tough regulations on environmental issues. They also do a lot of work in Eastern Europe, where there are some very big environmental problems.
bà ấy nói bà ấy có bạn.
Just let me finish. I'm not saying you have a problem at the moment, but if you do increase production, one thing you need to know about Mike is he always finishes on time and he always sticks to the original price, so you wouldn't have to worry about that.
And now we see the problem. The visitor is speaking on and on and on, and refusing to let the interpreter do her job. The interpreter is excluded, and she cannot cope with the visitor. In fact, this visitor is so annoying that the host is forced to act impolitely and just end the meeting abruptly.
Why don't I get Mike Timberlake to give you a call? He's a great guy, he's a wonderful guy, he's the MD. In fact, I think he might be in Asia next week. I'll ask him.
Xin cảm ơn bà, hy vọng sớm gặp lại.
Was there anything the interpreter could have done? Perhaps not. But let's watch a professional interrupting successfully. Just with eye and head movements.
Tầm 1,5 mét đầy lên thì bắt đầu mới đẩy lò vào đấy và đốt lấy 1.200 độ. Cho nên là 1.200 độ thì cho nên khách hoàn toàn tin tưởng và không nghi ngại gì về vấn đề ví dụ có ảnh hưởng về hóa chất hoặc men gì hết, bởi vì 1.200 độ nó đã khử hết cả các chất đi rồi.
And before putting all these products into the ovens, they have to prepare a lot of shells so that they can put in the ovens a lot of products at the same time. And the temperature inside is over 1,200.
欢迎大家到钢琴博物馆这个展馆参观。这个展馆呢是由著名的华侨胡友义先生呢专门从国外收过来的，主要呢是展现一下钢琴的发展历程。首先呢，我们可以看到这架钢琴，这架钢琴是1862年采用英国伦敦的克门。那么在当时呢，都是没有电灯的，学的时候都是用蜡烛来照明。那么这烛台呢很特别，它是可以移动的。不用的时候给它收回去。好
Okay, so welcome to the second exhibition hall of the Piano Museum of Gulang Island. And all these pianos were collected by Mr. Hu, an overseas Chinese who live in Australia now.
Here is aware of the works of Abraham Maslow on motivation.
Abraham Maslow?
Maslow.
Who is that?
So you're not? Okay.
No. Which country is he from?
American.
他提到了一个美国人叫亚伯拉罕Maslow。
钢琴就是他们的比赛指定用琴，那价格是很昂贵的。新出厂的这样一台琴呢，要100到150万的人民币。那最便宜的立式钢琴是20多万。
对不起，最后一句是什么？
最便宜的立式钢琴也要20多万，是非常昂贵的。
谢谢。This is one of the world's most renowned piano brands, Steinway, and this is very expensive. Now it is used for almost all piano contests in the world.
Swing through and back for a second swing on the inside of the leg.
就是说这个第一下使用这个警棍的时候，是从这个外侧向里侧横着打，目的是说把他腿打完，使这个抗议者倒在地上。如果第一下打击没有奏效的话，再回来之后打击这条腿的内侧，你目的也是让这个抗议者倒在地上。
Different countries here, you could see different pictures, and these pictures are drawn according to the order from the customers.
Here you can see our products. I'm not going to talk about those now because later you will all go around the factory and you will see these products, you can touch them, see them working. So I will not spend any time on that.
CD.
And also they will have a factory visit so they can see the real thing.
那么这是我们生产的一些主要的产品。我今天在会议上呢，不准备给大家。
He or she should not be shy, but just do not hesitate to check and to ask for the explanation of the meaning of such vocabulary or terms with the speakers.
If the interpreter fails to hear or understand a concept, a term, or any critical piece of information, he may ask the speaker to repeat or explain. But he should be very specific when he makes the request. Don't just say, pardon, or can you repeat? Let the speaker know where exactly the problem is.
It's difficult to work out a theory. What do you cope? How do you cope? And how do you train? How do you get students to cope with pressure unless you have found a way of simulating that sort of pressure that interpreters come across on a daily basis?
Coping tactics can be learned through practice and training.
We can't show the very many different situations where liaison interpreters need coping tactics. But with training and experience, I'm sure you'll learn to cope yourself. Goodbye.